He don't scatter Farai's news this morning. Tinubu do in last campaign rally yesterday for Lagos. We don't know say that they share money. For your own Lagos, is it they share money, make people come. RUFAI don't finish RUFAI don't finish APC this morning for us news. But I want this video because this guy always give me joy. This RUFAI they always give me joy. This guy is one of the best journalists in Africa. Yes. Because as a journalist, you need to say what you see and what you have observed. Yes. Which you don't do your research on. Listen to RUFAI and Dr. Abati today for Arise News. And they come because they say,
has given people hope, and he wants to continue to give Nigerians hope. Well, many Nigerians may raise questions about that and say, well, which hope? Is it with fuel scarcity, or is it with the scarcity of cash? And of course, you know, what else do you expect him to say? His manifesto is called Renewed Hope. Secondly, there have been some insinuations. There have been some insinuations that money was being distributed yesterday when the convoy, or if you like, the politicians to be spraying money to this kind of crowd, there will have been complete chaos. But in any case, the campaign will soon close, and on Saturday, Nigerians will go to the polls to vote. Lagos State is going to be one of those major spots for the election. What is important is, as the security agencies have promised, to provide an enabling environment for people to be able to vote safely, for people to be able to make an informed choice, for Nigerians to be able to decide. After all, the title of the process is called Nigeria Decides. And Nigerians must decide on Saturday.
Football, that's the one thing that brings everybody together, regardless of tribe, regardless of where they're from.
Manner and respect the will of the people, which must prevail, which must be supreme.
Right, so a couple of things. Number one, if you want a show for a rally, no other person does it better than Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Give it to him yesterday. He had a sparkling show. You know, from the campaign train, from the dances, from everything. City Boy knows how to put up a show. And give it to the City Boy. He aced it yesterday. Good crowd, good turnout, everything. President Muhammadu Buhari raising his hands up. All the stumps went out there for the City Boy. But let's move one step further. And to second what you said, Dr. Abati, I watched the video over and over again. I didn't see money being shared there. But I also saw a counter video of some of the supporters sharing the money in an envelope that was given them. And that was the old notes. So the politicians and their fixation on those old notes, trying to pass it through, despite what the president has said, is very scary. And politicians should please calm things down regarding inciting people for protest, because there was also a video yesterday caught in outrage of a certain APC chieftain campaigning and saying that, hey, we are not part of what President Muhammadu Buhari has done, that Buhari and MFLA will soon leave. Statements like that to incite your crowd against the president because something is not going your way should be looked at. Just like what happened in Shagamu, which is very sad. Just like the governors that said, oh, CFOs will be revoked, banks will be damaged. Please, they should remember that there are consequences for the things that has been said. And I just hope that integrity of these people will be intact. The major problem of the APC is the ding-dong affair they have. The fact that it was so difficult for them to campaign with President Muhammadu Buhari's record, and they opted to campaign with Bola Ahmed Tinubu's record in Lagos, which has been challenged, and now they are stuck in the middle. So that's the major problem with them. So this same Bola Ahmed Tinubu that is saying, and that's what I was asking you to interpret, that how hard, you know, Buhari has worked, you know, how Buhari has worked for him and all of that. He will work out hard. The question you should ask me, this is the same Bola Tinubu that came out to say that some people have no brain, that Naira was 200 Naira in 2015, but now it's 800 Naira. But he was pretty much abusing President Muhammadu Buhari. And he's not been able to beat his chest and campaign with the policies. They say something with one mouth, with the other mouth they say something else. And now they seek the endorsement for President Buhari to raise their hands up. So you see, as we go into this election in 3 days, Nigerians, shine your eye. It has shown that there's a big war happening internally in the APC, how they can get their acts together, because half of their governors are already abusing the president and say, don't listen to the president. And there's so much discrepancy. What will matter the most will be the will of Nigeria to take their country in their hands and change their country forever. You have seen the shenanigans of politicians this season. The question I want to ask you is, as you go into this election, Nigerians, so far not they tire you?
Ruben, RUFAI, and Ayo. A lot to talk about.
I mean, real quickly, I'd like to start on the local scene, then I'll go to the foreign scene. I think politicians should watch it. All of this shenanigan playing out. And I'm saying that vis-a-vis what was circulating yesterday. You will know definitely it was spinned. People cloned the CBN official templates and wrote out a statement. And a lot of people pushed the narrative until it was debunked by the CBN. I think politicians should stop all this rubbish they do. Let's not overheat the polity. This country is for all of us. Just like how the rallies went peacefully yesterday, and somebody said, RUFAI, you observed the rallies went peacefully yesterday, but Obedience had a rally and they were attacked in Lagos. So all of a sudden, they've been protesting about Naira scarcity. They didn't protest about that during rally. They were all calm. But other people came to rally in Lagos. They were attacked, and no arrests have been made. Nobody has been prosecuted. So the security agency should look at all of this and be calm. And on further introspection, I now see why the Edo State Commissioner of Information and the commissioners in Edo State are saying they should call Mr. Adams Oshomole. That Guardian report you cited,
yes.
I've seen the video evidence of when he said it in Alchi, pretty much inciting the people against the president and the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele. It's not good for an elder statesman to do that. And also, I think I made an analysis and I said, oh, he may be politically motivated between Obaseki. I take my own words back because I fact-check myself when I'm correct. Because I have now been made to see the new video where Adams Oshomole was telling Kabaka and a couple of other people that they can't come and intimidate us in Benin. And when they saw somebody was recording, they said, shut down that recording. I saw the recording yesterday. I had not seen that recording before now. So all of these two things points towards something with the one in Auchi yesterday, which they have video evidence for. We can't allow elder statesmen and politicians, because things don't favor them, to go against the president and say all sorts. In court, they will meet today, and they have already filed contempt against Malami. They filed contempt against Emefiele and all of that. Let's see what the Supreme Court will rule today. But all of these shenanigans, I keep begging for politics. And it's not that when these leaders get in there, they change the lives of the people. And that's why these elections must count, please. Because you see, we keep having a change of leaders. Pomp and pageantry heralded Buhari coming in 2015. We called him a messiah. But what happened?
I did not we.
So how is it that
Don't say we.
all the people that called him a messiah?
You are among those who called him a messiah.
You didn't know me in 2015, Mr. Feni.
Why are you saying we? Why are you?
A lot of Nigerians overwhelmingly voted for him.
Some
Nigerians overwhelmingly voted for him. There was a general consensus that Jonathan was the devil then. We can't deny the facts. There was a general consensus.
No, there was no such general consensus.
There was a general consensus.
Why are you generalizing?
No, I'm not generalizing.
You're in a generalization mood. Why?
No, I'm not in a generalization. Let me just quickly.
Election results.
There was no such general
Let me quickly
Even
speak.
the results did not
Dr.
show
Abati, I don't expect
consensus.
you to say otherwise.
But Nigerians
No, but
to call a man a devil?
No,
Whose
because
consensus was that?
See,
No,
there was a general consensus.
Even the result of the
there's
election
no
showed
such
that
thing.
not all Nigerians voted against
Nigerians were
him.
largely disgruntled, and they
Not
wanted to
Jonathan.
vote
So we can deny it all we want
Yes.
here today because we have seen otherwise that Buhari has not performed well. But there was a general consensus that it was Jonathan out or anything that period, which we cannot
we
all
make
deny.
progress. Instead
So
of you insisting on
what
others disagree with.
on Russia and Ukraine, I think to a large extent what is happening now, the West should watch it. Because Putin is pushing till the very end now. He gave a 105-minute speech and it was all guns blazing. And the West is also divided. People like Macron are saying we should still meet Russia on the conversation table. I don't know how they're going to pan this out. Let's see, time will tell.
Well, just on the Naira scarcity and what and responsibility in terms of the headline around INEC, actually. INEC making, having the funds required from CBN. I think that's quite important to highlight because one of the things they'd said, the INEC chairman had said, Professor Yakub Mahmoud had said that if they didn't get the required money, then it could, hamper, add logistics of the elections. A few days, I think it was yesterday, the service chiefs had reported about them assuring of the security of the elections come Saturday. CBN has now come out to say that we have given INEC the required logistics. So it seems like all hands are on deck to ensure that we won't have excuses come Saturday that the reason why certain things couldn't happen. They received the money, let INEC ensure that Nigerians are able to go to the polls on Saturday and exercise their franchise.
Okay, let me start from the particular to the general. To say that today is Ash Wednesday, which was the beginning of the Lenten season, when Christians, go through a 40-day period of fasting and reconciliation with God. Incidentally, this year, today, February 22, is also the beginning of the Sha'ban, 1444 AH, the 8th month in the Muslim calendar, marking again, signaling the Ramadan season, which will come shortly. So we find ourselves at a moment in Nigeria whereby the two major faiths will be, going through fasting, will be looking onto the eye of God. The symbolism of both Lent and even Ramadan that will come is about good behavior, godliness, sacrifice. And we hope that we will see these virtues on display as Nigerians go to the polls on Saturday. Because what we find in Nigeria is that there is a gap between public morality and private morality. Everybody troops to the church, everybody troops to the mosque, everybody observes the religious rituals, but we don't see it in their behavior. Stop looking at me, Evgeny. I'm not accusing you. I'm just making a general statement.
You are decided to deliver homily this morning, Ruben.
The second point that I would like to make has to do with the banknotes. I read a very sad story of a gentleman at the Lagos State University, Ojo, who went to a bank in the school, Wema Bank, and having stayed on the queue for a very long time, the man just slumped and died. They tried to revive him, but he failed. So only God knows how many other people have died on queues looking for money. The hardship that people are going through is real. And in Ogun State, the Bankers Forum in Ogun State has directed that all banks should be shut down in the state because of attacks, repeated attacks on banks across the state, which I think is unfortunate. But people are also optimistic that after Saturday, maybe those who are holding money will bring out the money.
Normalcy will return.
That normalcy will return. As for Putin, I said yesterday that Putin is not interested in peace. What he has done is to suspend the treaty between Russia and the United States on the deployment of nuclear missiles and weapons, of that sort. And what it means, of course, is that we're going back to the Cold War. And it is instructive that yesterday, when he gave his State of the Nation address, he was in fact blaming the West, what he called the decadent West, for the attack on Ukraine. Now, that connection, I've not been able to establish it, but, that was his State of the Nation address. And he's even saying that those sanctions have no effect on Russia, that Russia has been able to work out its supply chain. So as we approach the first anniversary of the Russo-Ukrainian war, it doesn't seem to look like diplomacy is going to solve the problem. It doesn't look like sanctions will solve the problem. It is the rest of the world that will suffer as a result of this. But of course, it got a quick riposte yesterday because about an hour later, President Biden was in Poland, was in Warsaw. And, he just, without necessarily addressing him directly, he said that, Russia and Putin pose a threat to freedom and democracy on the global stage. But we just hope and wish that, the war will be resolved so that the people of Ukraine can have peace, so that people like Mr. Feni who like to eat bread, the bakeries that he patronizes will have access to wheat, and the world can be a better place for all. Thank you very much, Feni.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a short break now, and when we
I beg you so much. This is time for competency. This is time for credibility, accountability. This is time for Papa, Mama, and Pekin. Human being that you can trust. This is time for credibility. This is time for a new Nigeria. Let's give room for a good and resounding and, should I say, a promising Nigeria. Let's give chance to Peter Obi and Subaba Medati, LP, Papa, Mama, and Pekin. Forward ever. Because